Hello there, my YouTube friends and fans. Welcome to the Division 2. If you've been following me, you know that I've played the private beta and already kind of put a couple of videos out and gave my opinion on it. And my opinion hasn't really changed. And if you're new to my channel, I just want to say that I did not plan on getting this game simply because all the marketing that was done around it was basically making it kind of feel like you can only play this online with other people. There's no way you can play this separately, solo. There's no story. It's just basically kind of like a co-op multiplayer situation, and I wasn't into that because I prefer to play alone. I prefer to take my time, run around, loot, look around, and just really play at my own pace. Because if you play with other people, they constantly kind of like, let's go there. Well, I don't want to go there. All right, let's go there. Then they kind of basically take all your kills, and you basically just follow a bunch of people around. And to me, that's not fun. I know a lot of people love that, but it's just not my thing. So I was really happy that they allowed me access to the private beta. I didn't know there was an open beta after that, so I just took the advantage and jumped right in. And I was pleasantly surprised to learn that there was really no difference to the first game, which I played a lot of it. And I just enjoyed myself so much in the beta that I was convinced I'm gonna get this game. And then after that, in the weeks until the game came out, I just was so impatient. I couldn't wait to get my hands on the full game. And when the open beta came around, I didn't really want to play it because I already played like 4 missions in the private beta, and I knew I had to replay those missions all over again in the full game. So I was like, I'm not going to do this again. And I also didn't want to have any more spoilers. I knew at that point I'm going to get the game. There's no need for me to play any more of it. And, you know, all the looting really doesn't make sense in a beta because you spend a lot of time getting all those goodies and then you basically lose them all again. So now I'm here, I have the full game, and I can finally loot to my heart's content, and everything that I find is going to be mine forever. So the one thing that I learned really quick playing this full version is that this game is a lot harder than the first one. I didn't really kind of realize that in the beta, but I really noticed that when I started playing this full release, and I was just like, wow, this is really challenging. And then I realized, aha, it's because when you play alone, they actually built this game to play, you know, with friends, with 1, 2, 3, 4, I don't know how many friends you can have in there. And then it makes it really easy because you can just basically corner the enemy, and every one of you can just take a position, and the enemy really doesn't have a chance. But when you're alone, look at that. Those enemies, they did a really good job to make those enemies realistic in that they know how to flank you. And they are, look at that. I mean, you are not safe anywhere. Don't think you're safe up on a ladder, up on a house, in an elevator shaft, anywhere. They come follow you, and they come at rapid speed. And a lot of them are very deadly. So if you don't take them out within like seconds, you're dead. And then the worst of all are those remote control cars. I don't even remember anymore if we had them in the first one. I don't think so. But they are the worst because a lot of times when there's a lot of shooting going on, you don't hear them approaching you until it's too late and they explode right next to you. And if you're lucky, you have enough health to survive maybe that RC car, but then an enemy comes rushing around the corner and finishes you off. So you have to just learn to basically not go too close to the enemy and know exactly where they are, how many there are, which ones to take out first, and basically strategize your attack or defense. You can't just run and gun into the situation because you most likely will lose every single time. because don't forget that you're all by yourself and you're completely outnumbered by very, very strong enemies. Even if they're at your level, they can take you out in a snap, and don't ever underestimate them because they're way more powerful than they look. But of course, number one priority is get yourself a very, very powerful and accurate weapon, which is what I'm using here. This is another reason to do a lot of looting. Take your time, because you'll be surprised how many goodies you find when you just kind of scout buildings and corners that you wouldn't think to look. You find some very rare weapons, and also in underground locations, of course. You would think that some really huge LMG with a big magazine or some really fast SMG will be much better in situations like this, but I've actually tried that, and because they're so inaccurate and a lot of times a lot weaker, that you actually end up losing a lot more than if you just have like a very accurate gun that takes 1 to 2 bullets, or maybe 3, depending on the level of the enemy, sometimes more like 5 or 6 bullets to take them down. But you know that every shot hits, and every shot actually hurts them at least 20%.
Base match. Item of interest detected.
So I've heard a lot of people say, oh, you know, this game is just going to be like the first one. It's going to be repetitive, and the enemies are bullet sponges. And I don't know, it's basically maybe more like the DLC of the first one. And I mean, that really depends on how you look at it, because if you didn't like the first one, you most likely won't like this one, because there is not a lot of difference. I think though that, you know, having played the first one, there's a lot more variety in this game, and because the enemies are so much more challenging, the game is a lot more fun. And for a lot of us, this game is actually quite addictive, because you are just like, for example, you lose against a bunch of enemies and you're like, there has to be a way to do this. I can do this. There has to be a way to do this by myself. This game has not just been built for, you know, teams. There has to be a way, and I feel like that's another reason I like to play it alone.
Detected.
Because it is so much more satisfying if you actually can do this alone, instead of like just running with a gang and you have like the front guy taking most out, and if you're lucky you get a shot in, and you never really feel this complete. It's kind of like with team sports, or, you know, sports where it's 1 versus 1. It's just so much more satisfying for the person that won, because it's really that person that won the fight and not the whole team that won the fight. But, you know, like I said, some people are more team oriented and some people are just more lone gunners.
Here we go!
And this game is definitely not for the impatient person. If you're trying to play this alone, you have to know to be very, very patient. There is no rushing things, because you will never win if you rush things. You just don't have a chance. You will always be outnumbered, and you will always be flanked. The enemy is always trying to flank you. So take your time. There's no reason you have to rush it. If you play solo, it doesn't matter what kind of rank you are. Nobody cares. You're the only one that sees your rank. So there's absolutely no reason to stress. The best thing is to, if you do see a bunch of enemies in front of you, to keep distance. If you've already too close, try to slowly sneak away to get distance, and then try to attack them. Or sometimes when I'm like on my way to a mission, I really just don't want to deal with a gang that's hanging around the corner. I literally just try to ignore them and try to sneak by them without them even noticing. That's not always possible, but if it is, you know, you don't have to always deal with those gangs. I mean, of course, it's gonna add XP, and they drop loot and stuff. But sometimes you really just want to get to a mission, because it's happened to me that I tried to get to a mission and I got stopped by so many gangs at so many corners that I never really got to the mission. And I tried to get to a mission for 2 days straight, and I never got there because I always got interrupted. So eventually I was like, I just have to see if there's a way to get past them without having to deal with them. If I don't want to deal with them, I can always go back and deal with them later, but sometimes you just don't want to deal with them right then and there, and that's definitely possible. So the one gripe I have with this game, that's really my only gripe, is that when it gets dark, it looks really cool, it's really eerie, but the problem is there's no way to equip a flashlight. I searched up and down, I even searched on the web, and there's a lot of people that actually request Ubisoft to add a flashlight. It just doesn't make sense that in an urban scenario where you play like a highly technical, skilled operator or soldier or agent, you have no flashlight. That's just not, I mean, even in real life, you know, an FBI agent has a flashlight when they have to deal with dark situations, they have to do something at night. Police officers, firemen, they all have flashlights. Why don't we have flashlights in this game? Then you think, yeah, maybe it's good not to have a flashlight there because then my position is being given away. But to be honest, even without a flashlight, the enemy always knows where you are. You can't really hide in the darkness like you can in Splinter Cell and some other games. There's no such thing as hiding in the dark. They, for some reason, always seem to know where you are. So it doesn't really matter if you run with a flashlight or not. But I definitely think that that should be an optional thing. It shouldn't be a mandatory thing where automatically you have a flashlight when it gets dark and it's always on. It should be something that you can equip or you can attach to your gun. And I really hope they do that, because there's some of the corners in this game where you literally can't see anything. I had to turn up my brightness a lot, but then it became too bright during the day, so that's a little bit of an issue, so I had to turn it down again. But other than that, I think this game is amazing. It's super addictive. It's a lot of fun. If you like looting and shooting, this game is for you. So with this, I'm going to end this video. I hope you liked it. If you did, please don't forget to give me a thumbs up. And I hope to see you next time. Take care. Bye-bye.